Here's story time with a teachable moment. It was about 2009, and I was working with a group of kiddos that had learning disabilities and language impairments. And I had this one little dude that had a significant speech impairment. He essentially talked only in vowels, and the only consonants he ever used that were intelligible were P and W, and neither one of those consonants were in his name. That's going to be important later in the story. So I worked with his mom and worked with the speech pathologist at school, and we had a very, very intensive plan for him. He was in a language-rich environment, so he was constantly exposed to really good language and a lot of kids that had great expressive communication. So this little dude, while he wasn't necessarily expressive, was very, very receptive. And so in order to kind of support his expressive language, we also used, a communication device. We used picture supports for him. And so about halfway through the year, we're getting ready to go to an assembly, and the assembly is on bicycle safety. So we, take all of our kiddos down to the multi-purpose room, and there's a speaker in there, and there's a lot of bikes. And this little kiddo loves, loves, loves bikes. And so, we're all kind of sitting there, and, the speaker says, can I have a volunteer to come up and show how to put on a helmet safely? And so my little friend raises his hand. He's 6 years old. He raises his hand and he goes up there. And the first thing the woman says is, "Hey, buddy, what's your name?" And this little dude, oh my gosh, I wish it could have heard it. And I wish I could say his name out loud, but I can't because of privacy. But this little dude was so excited because he was able to say his own name, and it took him like 15 seconds to get it out. And it was this magical, incredible moment. And, his mom wasn't there, but I called her on the phone, and it was just this huge celebration. And I had my teacher tears and things like that. So, well, that's a really great story. The teachable moment in that is, you just never know when kids are getting it. You never know when that magical moment is going to be. And so, I talk a lot about, presuming competence and assuming that, every child is capable of learning. They're just going to do it in their own time. But man, it is stories like that that are just fantastic. I mean, it was many, many years ago, and it's still just such a little memory. So that's my story time for today. A little teachable moment mixed in. And whatever you do out there in the world today, do it with kindness, do it with love.